Been very, very effective with a let-up pitch. There's the curve that's high for ball 2.
Funny, I noticed when Kenny took his warm-up pitches before the first pitch thrown to the Lopes, he took about 12, and about 7 or 8 were curveballs. He may change his tactics this ball game.
Missed outside at 3 balls and a strike. Now, Kenny Holtzman has a horror of walking batters, and this kind in particular he doesn't want to put on free of charge. So he may groove one pretty well right here, and Lopes can hit the ball out of the park. He's hit 10 home runs this year. Straightaway center field, Bill North. Makes the catch, and there's one away. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. The Commissioner of Baseball has the right of approval of the announcers of this event. Here's Bill Buckner with one out in the first inning. Buckner so far in the series has 3 base hits. He's been up 13 times, and Holtzman starts him off with a fastball strike.
The fans can see the sun shining brightly on the bleachers, but it is no problem to the outfielders now that is ducked down behind the rim of the stadium.
Here's the curve, and Holtzman has a good one. As that pitch was coming to the plate, Dick Green, the A's second baseman, broke about 8 steps to his left as the pitch was on the way to the plate. When he sees the catcher's called a curveball, he'll do that. Holtzman's ahead of Buckner now at 0-2. Curved him again, and the ball is fouled away. When Holtzman came to the A's from Chicago, he had the reputation of being a curveball and off-speed pitcher. But he came to the A's in the first 2 years here. He threw, I'd say, 80% fastballs. This past year, then, he went back to a lot of off-speed pitches. There's a fastball hit down the line and left. Claudell Washington can't get it. And the rookie outfielder didn't quite get to a fly ball. It hit right in his glove and out. And Bill Buckner is on.
He got a good jump, and Randall almost caught the ball. He had the added advantage of having his glove in his right hand. He did not have to backhand it, and the ball just flopped out of his webbing of his glove. He has speed. He caught up to the ball. He was playing Buckner toward left field, and he thought he had it.
Buckner's played as a pull hitter by the Dodgers. I don't think a lot of left fielders could have reached that ball, except for this 20-year-old youngster who has blazing speed.
I noticed that Rudy, however, has played him much closer to the line than Washington was playing him right then. They give Buckner a double on the play, and Jimmy Wynn is the batter now. Wynn's had 2 hits, 11 at-bats in the series. Pitch it outside a ball. Wynn said before the game he was going to move up on the plate. That means up in the front of the batter's box and particularly towards the plate so he can reach the outside pitch. And sure enough, Holtzman went outside on him. Just missed with that one. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Claudell Washington is only 20 years old. He came up from Birmingham about mid-season, a little after for the A's, and has played all 3 outfield positions, left, center, and right. But he's not played left field in some time. He's been out in right a lot with Jackson Hurt. Holtzman hit the outside corner, call strike.
And Monty, what you said makes a difference getting a jump on the ball. You're used to the ball coming off the bat at a certain angle in right, and it's different in left.
See how close Wynn is standing to the front part of the batter's box, closest to the plate. He's right up on it. And he still was way out front of the let-up pitch. I don't think where you stand is going to make that much difference on the speed, other than if you're going to definitely try to go to right field.
And Dixie Walker was telling Tony and me tonight that he thinks he's finally convinced these young Dodger right-handers to try and go to right field against the A's.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, right here, just a hit to right field would score a run. They don't need the extra base blow here. Buckner, big jump down off second. If they let him get that big a jump, he's got to go. And Holtzman takes his foot off the rubber and drives him back in. Buckner stole 31 bases this year. Curveball fouled off. You can see Wynn just sort of taking 2 hitches and trying to wait on that curveball.
He's a mistake hitter. There's Garvey on deck. Proud father tonight. We'll have more about that.
2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out, top half of the first inning. Or Buckner's got a big lead. Holtzman stopped him and struck out Wynn. So they're 2 down as Holtzman gets his first strikeout. And we've got to say congratulations from everybody at NBC to Steve Garvey and his wife Cindy for a baby girl born at 3:30 this afternoon. 6 pounds and 13 ounces. The baby's name, Krisha Lee. Born in Valley Presbyterian Hospital in Van Nuys.
I think that's the 5th daughter that the Dodgers have had this year, and instead of the fathers and son game, they're going to be having a fathers and daughters game at Dodger Stadium.
A lot of cheerleaders. Steve Garvey with 2 down and a runner at second base. The top RBI man for the Dodgers this year. In the regular season, Garvey hit .312, drove in 111 runs. He's had 5 hits in the series. He's close to the plate, but back in the box a little bit. Let-up pitch is a little high.
I'd like to get Tony's opinion. I think he's been the best-looking hitter in this series. What do you think, Tony?
No doubt about it. He knows how to adjust, and it's the kind of staff that keeps the ball away from right-handed hitters. And Garvey all year long has consistently hit the ball the opposite way when they pitch him outside.
He's hit a lot of hard foul balls down the right field line in this series, trying to go that way. He wasn't trying to go that way on that one. He was out in front of a curveball, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. And you notice that Holtzman threw that on a 2-0 count. He'll throw it any time, and he'll also throw the let-up. Kenny doesn't like to call that off-speed pitch a changeup. He says, I do not throw a changeup. I just take something off the fastball. Missed with a curve. He's 3-1 on a tough hitter here. Still a very bright time of day here in Oakland. It's amazing. This game started about 15 minutes earlier than last night's. The difference in the lighting in the park between last night and tonight. Let-up pitch. Garvey out in front again, 3-2.
Monty, I was in the Dodger clubhouse before batting practice, and they were, what's a good word, grizzly. They weren't very talkative today. But when they were taking batting practice, Garvey got the phone call in the dugout that his wife had given birth to a baby girl, and they all congratulated.
Andy Messersmith, last half of the first inning, will pitch to Bert Campaneris, Bill North, and Sal Bendel. Messersmith, the 20-game winner this year for the Dodgers. He lost only 6. And you look how a guy finishes the season to see how well he is ready to go into a series. The pitch to Campaneris hits him. Campaneris hit on the left arm and looks back over the shoulder at Messersmith. You know one thing, Messersmith wasn't throwing at him.
He wasn't taken. He was going to go after right off the bat. And look at the wince in the face of Campaneris. And are the Dodgers trying to shake up these Oakland A's?
So Campy Campaneris is on. Campaneris had 4 hits in the series. For the year, the A's little road running shortstop had 34 stolen bases. Messersmith is known to have one of the better moves among the right-handed Dodger pitchers.
He is not the kind of kid to wake up either, Bert Campaneris. He can get on those bases and really terrorize you.
I would imagine Messersmith's going to take a few shots at him here. Bill North's had only 1 hit in 10 at-bats in the series. He had a couple of hits the first day of the playoffs and then went into a slump, couldn't get the ball out of the infield. He takes low, ball 1. The A's know that Yeager can throw the baseball. He proved that to them in game number 1 real quickly.
They don't believe Garvey can, though. Sometimes they may try and bunt down there to make him handle it. And they think Say has trouble charging the slow hit ball or the bunt at third.
During the regular season, the A's didn't bunt the ball too much in this situation because North is left-handed, getting out of that box very quickly and doesn't hit into too many double plays. So they didn't bunt too much, but the last couple of weeks, Alvin Dark seemed to change things and started bunting in this situation because North wasn't hitting all that well. Campaneris, 10 years in a row, has stolen more than 30 bases. 6 times has led the American League in stolen bases. He's going. Pitch is swung and missed. Yeager's throw is right there. Got him. Steve Yeager with a great throw to second base, nailing Campy Campaneris.
Here's Campy again. Messersmith got rid of the ball very quickly to his catcher, Yeager. Looked like a hit and run as Campy kept his eye on that hitter for a long time. Lopes taking the throw. He was playing close to the bag. Here's Yeager, and you'll see by this that that bad leg with a collision with Bando at home plate a couple of games ago is not affecting his jumping out of that crouch and making a throw.
Well, you throw Campaneris out by that much, you've had something on the throw.
North bunts the ball. One hopper to Lopes, and he got him. That kind of about a minute ago, and it would have had Campaneris moved over. So they're 2 down, nobody on, and here is A's captain, third baseman Sal Bando, who's without a hit so far in this World Series. Bando had his lowest batting average for a year this year with 243, but had a very productive year with 103 runs batted in. Bando, Fosse, and Green are all without hits in the series, and here we are in Game 4. 0-1. Bando went 0 for 4 against Messersmith in Game 1 at Dodger Stadium. Throwing the heat to him now. 1 ball, 1 strike. Messersmith has one of the best changeups around, but so far he hasn't been in a position to throw it a lot. Now with nobody on, he may show it to Bando. Foul back, strike 2. 3 consecutive 3-2 games. The A's have won 2 of them. The Dodgers have won 1. He struck him out in a let-up, and that's all for the Oakland A's. The score after 1 inning of play at the Oakland Coliseum. The Dodgers nothing, the A's nothing. Top half of the second inning, Matty Joe Ferguson at the plate for the Dodgers with a 1-strike count on him, and Holtzman misses outside for ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ferguson jumped into an early lead for the Heroes role in this 1974 World Series with a home run and a fantastic throw from right field. Pitch it outside, a ball 1-1. Last night had to take a couple of very tough errors of the catcher. Holtzman misses low, ball 2. Joe Rudy's really off the line at first base towards second. How far he is off first base. Strike call, 3-2.
How's Rudy around the bag? Tony and I have never seen him play first base in a game of the week.
He isn't too bad, Kurt, but he doesn't really feel very comfortable over there. Here's a scouting report stopped by Dick Green. He throws him out. And I know the Dodgers are talking to themselves in this entire series, saying every time we hit a ball hard, there's Dick Green. It's no accident, Kurt.
He's right there. He started 3 double plays last night. Every ball hit viciously to him. And this ball was slapped hard by Ferguson.
Right up the middle, but Green was cheating on him, as was Joe Rudy, as we'd mentioned. Here's Ron Say, third baseman for the Dodgers. Well, what a play he made here last night. There's a drive to center, North going back. Makes the catch a little lower than he usually likes to make them.
Monty, you made an interesting observation when Buckner was up in the first inning. That on breaking balls, Green will move toward first base. When that pitch was on its way, he took 5 or 6 steps towards second base, and North in center field also ran toward left center field a little bit. So somebody's giving him signals out there, too.
Right you are, Tony. Billy North said that he's learned playing the hitters from Dick Green this year, and he said more than he ever thought he could ever learn about playing hitters. He watches Green, and when Green cheats, he cheats. Russell takes low, ball 1. No score. We're just underway at the Coliseum in Oakland. 1-1 count.
Bando plays in tight on 3 Dodger batters. Lopes, Buckner because he's a left-hander, and then Russell again because he can run. Lopes and Russell especially with their speed of going down the line.
Bouncing ball to Campaneris. And it's 3 up, 3 down. We've gone through 1.5 innings here in Oakland, and the score remains the Los Angeles Dodgers nothing, the A's nothing. Gene Tennis sitting in the Oakland A's dugout. Gino became famous this year in the hair industry when he put a topper on. You can see it there. Reggie Jackson. After a Messersmith changeup and way out front.
That's a tense-looking dugout, isn't it? They're all lying back, relaxed, smiling.
1 strike to count on Jackson. He's had 3 hits in 9 at-bats in the series. 1 a home run off Messersmith in game number 1. He hit him right on the fist with that one, and it kicks off foul. A lucky break for Jackson.
Jackson's had 3 hits. 2 of them have been to left field. He said he's not purposely trying to go to left. He's waiting on the pitch.
Reggie really, for all his strength, Kurt, never hits that many home runs down the line or in dead away right field. He hits most of his home runs between left center and right center. Very rarely does he get a cheap home run. He had a foul pole home run somewhere last year, and I remember they were kidding him about it. He just never hits one like that. It was right here in this ballpark. So look from behind home plate on the first base side of the diamond. Reggie takes low ball. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pitchers love to get ahead of a big swinger like Jackson at 0-2.
Cut down on his strikeouts this year.
With 2 strikes on him, you'll see him go into a little bit more of a crouch at the plate and even goes up on the bat handle a couple of inches sometimes. Depending, if there's a man at second base, he really does it. But nobody on, he's not doing it right now. I think he was out front of that pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You know, Jackson did a crazy thing this year. Crazy for some people, not for him. When he got his 1,000th strikeout in a game in Chicago, the catcher tossed the ball out to the mound, and Jackson went out and got it and saved it. Drive left center field. Jimmy Wynn makes a fine running catch. Jimmy Wynn with a fine running catch.
We've had some good center field plays so far in this World Series. North and Wynn. He was playing to the right field side of second base and had a long run, and the ball was hit hard and slicing. There's another angle from that low center field camera.
And look at that ball sinking on him. It was sinking rapidly.
When a left-hander swings like that and gets that inside-out swing that Jackson had on it, it was tailing away from Wynn, and when he first hit it, I didn't pick Wynn up that quickly, and I figured that one might be going to the wall because he really hit it hard, but Jimmy got a fine jump on the ball. So there's 1 down, and here's Joe Rudy, who's had 4 hits in the series. He is one of 2 Oakland A's players with that many. Campaneris is the other. Davey Lopes, backhanded stop to Garvey, who saves another Dodger throwing error. Garvey in this series has played beautifully at first base on some mighty big plays.
Well, he's been good all year at coming up with scoops. Here it is on the pickup by Lopes. Makes a fine play. Now watch this pickup. Garvey has saved the Dodger infielders many times this year at throwing errors.
When Garvey played third base for the Dodgers, he made quite a few errors. They had to change it, but it was not because he could not catch the ball. He could always do that, as you see. He had trouble throwing.
Here's Claudell Washington. Pops the first pitch up behind the plate. Yeager's coming back and has no play. Claudell Washington became quite well known here in the Bay Area because he's a Bay Area boy from Berkeley, California. He had quite a season for Oakland after coming up, hit .285. He's had 1 for 1 in the World Series, a pinch hit. He was hitting with power in the minor leagues in Birmingham, but has not hit his first home run yet. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. Washington after the changeup, and if he's had any trouble this year, it's been with the off-speed pitch.
Ralph Branca.
Famous words, leave me alone, leave me alone. In the locker room after he threw the home run pitch to Bobby Thompson in 1951.
Washington hits the ball left side deep. They're going to have to hurry to get him. Ball is thrown away, but Claudell can't get around first base. Davey Lopes with a hustling backup of a wild throw by Russell. That saved an error because he would have gone to second. I think they'll have to give him a base hit on the ball.
Here it comes. He had to go a long way to his right. He was playing up the middle. And a pretty good play by Davey Lopes. That's 2 good plays in a row. Ordinarily, Yeager gets down there, but he's got that bad knee from the collision.
Washington can run. There are players on the A's ball club who feel that he might be able to go from home to third faster than anybody on the club. So he's on with a base hit, the first for the A's, and here's Ray Fosse, the catcher. Messersmith went right after him with a high inside fastball. Washington had stolen something like 39 bases in a half a season at Birmingham. Only swiped 7 after he came up with the A's. He was leading that league in just about everything. Pitch is high, 2 balls and no strikes. The way it looks right now with the Dodger pitchers holding the runners on as well as they do, and I think they do it better than anybody we've seen. Baltimore is the closest in the American League, and the way Yeager throws as a catcher, it's going to be tough to run on the Dodgers. Fosse rips one foul off third. Bill Rigney, former manager around the Bay Area. He has managed the Giants, managed the California Angels for a long time. He lives right out here in Danville, Alamo.
And the Minnesota Twins. Right now, he's hitting them straight down the fairway.
He was our broadcast partner for a year here in Oakland on radio, and a good one. Greg stays a little bit torn. He sits in the ball games with National League personnel, and he's always been an American leaguer. Well, has been for the last few years. Strike 2. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ray Fosse, he's the second Oakland A's player in the last 2 years to have a back surgery and still play in the same season he had the surgery. Dick Green had that in 1972. He struck him out. And that's all for the Oakland A's. 2 innings have come and gone here at the Coliseum, and the score is the Dodgers nothing, the A's nothing. Top half of inning number 3. Steve Yeager, the Dodger catcher, will lead it off. Warren Giles, former president of the National League.
His son Bill doing a fine job as general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeager has 3 hits so far in the series. Starts him off with a pitch outside, ball 1. World Series, it's the gathering place for all of the Major League Baseball hierarchy, front office people. That ball's hit well. Washington can't get to it, and it's off the wall. He's throwing to second where Green is covering, but Yeager's in with a double.
Well, Washington played that ball well off the wall and had quite a strike to second base.
He has a pretty good arm. The way that ball went by him, the way he reacted, it looked as if he thought it was gone.
And you can see North comes over from center field to back him up. Yeager, who has the knee injury, had to hustle to make the double. Ron Luciano down there. He's a showman. The umpire.
Monty, they told the A's pitchers, don't give Yeager a fastball. That was a fastball right in there to him.
And he really jumped on it. Well, the Dodgers now are in the driver's seat with a runner at second, nobody down. Their pitcher, Messersmith, squares around and takes ball 1.
He was a hitting star in the first game, 2 out of 3 for Andy.
With the top of the batting order coming on, it'll be interesting to see if they let him swing and try to hit the ball to the right side, or if they have him bunting. Joe Rudy's charging from first base. He bunts it toward Bando. They'll have only one play. That's the first where Green is covering. He takes it, and going to third on the perfect sacrifice by Messersmith is Yeager. Messersmith is a very fine athlete, and all the A's scouting reports indicated that he could hit. He bunts well. He does what you have to do to field your position, and of course he does the number 1 thing that he's supposed to do, and that's throw the baseball the way it's supposed to be thrown. Was the bubblegum champion, but was dethroned on national television tonight.
They've got the infield in now. They're going to try and cut the runoff at home plate. He's going to pitch from the stretch.
Lopes after the first pitch, and Holtzman, knowing he's a good first pitch hitter, threw the ball that tailed away from him. Did the Dodgers squeeze that much?
They're liable to try anything. Lopes is not a good bunter, oddly enough.
Took that one for a ball.
That was proven in the first ball game when with 2 men on base and nobody out, Walter Alston let him hit away with a 2-0 count. He popped it up.
Yeager's got a good lead down off third, even though Holtzman's working off the stretch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This could be a mighty big out right here if Holtzman can get it without Yeager scoring, because the left-handed Buckner is up next. Though Buckner had the double, he hit it down the line in left field. Here's a look at Yeager from just up behind third base. Good lead he had. Started his swing. Alvin Dark's running out of the Oakland A's dugout. The first base umpire, Andy Olson, gave the safe sign, which meant he did not swing at the pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He struck him out. Kenny Holtzman took something off the pitch. There are a lot of pitchers who don't like to throw an off-speed pitch in a situation where a fly ball could hurt him, but Holtzman has such a good one and hides it so well, he throws it a lot on 2 strikes in this situation.
The Dodgers, oddly enough, have been a good ball club the past 2 seasons in scoring runners from third base with less than 2 out. They've led the league 2 years in a row in sacrifice flies.
The A's scouting reports indicate that Buckner, who's up right now, likes to drag bunt with 2 out and a runner at third. Ball's fouled off into the crowd. Claudell Washington is playing fairly close to the line in left field, but still not right over there. Bando's in to play at third base again.
Buckner really hangs in there against the left-hander. He doesn't back out. He's just a tough out.
1 strike the count, 2 down. The A's infield back now except for Rudy and Bando, and they are in because of the bunt scouting report. Curve over but low. It's 1-1. Takes a little courage to bunt with 2 out and a runner at third base. You have to really know you got a hit.
Green also, as the pitch is thrown, is creeping toward Buckner.
Curve blowing away. Two balls, 1 strike to count. Dodgers with a runner at third, 2 down, top half of the 3rd inning. This is the 4th game of the series. The A's lead in games 2-1. Holtzman tried to bust a fastball by on the inside on Buckner and let it get away from him.
That was a good play by Fosse. He saved a run. It's a tough play to make as the ball is tailing in. Here, let's take a look at it again. Watch Fosse move.
Look where his target was. That's why it was such a fine play. He was looking for that ball down and away, and it was up and in. And when a pitcher throws one that hard, it takes some pretty good movement by a catcher. Foul away. We're at 3 balls, 2 strikes on Bill Buckner. One of the most consistent hitting of all the Dodgers this year. Never went over 2 games without a hit. Billy's home is near here, Vallejo, just over the bridge. Buckner giving himself a little fight talk here with 3-2. There's the bunt. Holtzman got it and threw to first. Buckner got a slow curveball to bunt and bunted it too close to the mound. The score after 2. Boy, these games really move between the A's and the Dodgers. Big question around the World Series, is it poor hitting or good pitching? But there's not much scoring, that's for sure. Here's Dick Green. He's 0 for 8 in the series. Messersmith fires a fastball through there for a call strike. One ball, 1 strike. The A's have 1 hit. An infield single by Claudell Washington. The Dodgers have 2 hits, both doubles. Like the slider.
Messersmith throwing a lot more hard stuff, fastballs and hard sliders. On the other hand, throwing more breaking balls and fastballs.
Messersmith's ahead of him at 1-2. And he threw another fastball that's fouled off. Both teams have complained about the infields of this stadium and at Dodger Stadium. In the series, there's a high fastball at 2-2. We were asking some of the infielders of both teams tonight what the big difference is, and they said Dodger Stadium is hard, but it's consistently hard. This one has an inconsistent text, they say. Russell takes his time and throws Green out easily, and there's 1 away in the 3rd. Now the A's pitcher, Kent Holtzman, who had a double in Game 1. He had 2 doubles last year after not batting all year long. And a lot of people who are not acquainted with the American League designated hitter rule wonder about the pitchers if they ever get to do any hitting during the season. And the answer is yes. Every day when they're at home, they have about 30 minutes in the cage just for the pitchers. And it's their, I believe, favorite time of the day.
He's been quite a World Series hitter.
That ball's hit well. It is carrying, and there she goes.
Well, he had a double last year in the series, a double against Mr. Smith on Saturday, and now a home run tonight.
Set a record as we look at for getting around the bases slowly. Let's look at Buckner, who's playing very shallow in left field.
Where did it go?
Amazing. No sooner did you get the words out of your mouth, Monty, that they're not taking any hitting during a game, obviously. But that 30 minutes they play long ball is all they do. They don't get any breaking balls. They play long ball in that one.
Well, that was a long tater, is what the players call it. Here in Oakland, the players call home runs dingers now. And the fans have been bringing bells to the ballpark, and we had one night here in Oakland called Dinger Night, where some 20,000 fans brought bells among a 50,000 sellout crowd. $49,000 for the World Series. The answer is the size of the press corps that is here for the World Series, which takes up about 1,000 seats. Well, the A's lead 1-0, and who was the last pitcher to hit a home run in the World Series? Was it Dave McNally? Here's Campy Cavaleras. He bunts the ball in the air. First base side, foul ground. Messersmith makes the catch, and that shows you that he is a good athlete. He outran both Garvey and Yeager and went a long ways to get it. 1 down, or 2 down.
The A's were excellent bunters in Los Angeles on Saturday. They've been popping them up or bunting too hard today.
That brings up Bill North. I had the whole play up here a minute ago. Someone threw a frisbee out on the field. That home run that Holtzman hit was the second he's ever hit in the big leagues. Third. Scoreboard just said the second, but our statistician, and I'll take him, Alan Roth, says 3.
He had one against Atlanta, against Necro, and one in Chicago in '71 against McLaughlin of Cincinnati.
Billy North takes the ball. The greatest of all the figure filbers is right here with us, Alan Roth. Bouncing ball to Davy Lopes. And that's all for the A's, who score 1 run on 1 hit in the 3rd inning, and the score is 1-0 Oakland. Top of the 4th inning, Jimmy Wynn of the Dodgers bounces one back off the glove of Holtzman. Green's going to have to hurry. He got him. Great play by Dick Green, backing up Ken Holtzman.
He had a fine game last night. Once again, he may have had the ball, but it would have been a tougher play for him from way behind second base. The ball was deflected by Kenny.
You see another angle here, and you see that he was cheating. Look, he comes right straight back over second base. Look here, he's coming right straight over the bag nearly. So he was right behind the pitcher as that pitch was made. Here's Garvey.
No matter for what position he throws, Green gets something on the ball.
1 ball and no strikes on Steve Garvey of the Dodgers. He struck out his first time up. Low a ball. It's 2-0.
Monty, we heard Jimmy Wynn say they were going to adjust and try to hit the opposite way and move closer to the plate. It's easy to say you're going to do it, but they haven't done it yet. He's still trying to pull an outside pitch.
There's a ground ball right side off the glove of a diving Joe Rudy.
Well, Garvey can go to right field.
Looked like he was trying to kill worms or chop down a tree. That was really a swing going down on that ball.
Now, Garvey is probably Dixie Walker, the hitting instructor's favorite pupil. He takes advice, he takes coaching, he puts it in practice.
That's the 3rd hit for the Dodgers. Joe Rudy made a fine try for the ball, but only slowed it down. Here's Joe Ferguson. His 1 hit of the series was a towering blast over the center field wall at Dodger Stadium. It's ball 1, and Ray Fosse will talk with Kenny Holtzman now. Ferguson was born in San Francisco and grew up down in the San Jose area. right here in the Bay Area. Incidentally, the answer to that question a minute ago about who was the last pitcher to hit a home run in the World Series, it was back in 1970, and it was Dave McNally of the Baltimore Orioles. Ferguson takes outside a ball. It's 2-0. The A's won, the Dodgers nothing. We are in the 4th inning, 1 out, 1 on, and Ron Cey on deck. That's low for ball 3. Well, we'll see if Holtzman's going to give in to this big guy who can hit it out of the park. He's got some tough pitches ahead to make.
They let Fergie swing a lot, 3-0.
Strike, he went right on the inside corner to him. Tommy Lasorda, the third base coach of the Dodgers. He walked him, and the Dodgers have 2 on for Ron Cey. That comes from shooting at the corners. Holtzman, however, walked only about 2 men every 9 innings this year. Got a man on and a big guy like Ferguson up, and you pitch a little more finely than you do with nobody on.
Here's a batter you have to pitch outside to. He likes the inside part of the plate, and he'll hit a pitch on the inside part for power.
Had 18 homers this year, drove in 97 runs for the Dodgers. Out in front of the let-up pitch, 1 strike.
Like Gene Tennis, all he's seen is breaking pitches.
The A's playing pretty straight away everywhere. Fade a little bit to left. Foul, strike 2. This is a pretty typical Kenny Holtzman game. They hit the ball, but trying to hit it with power, you've got to catch him in a bad inning. He gives up a lot of hits, but it takes a lot of hits to beat you if you're not walking too many. Curveball, strike 3 called. Ron Cey doesn't believe it, but Don Dinkinger, the plate umpire, says, yes, sir.
Tony, his curve is much better tonight than it was Saturday in Los Angeles.
He didn't use it very often, and this is just the other weapon that a good pitcher has. Hunter does the same thing. We look at the breaking pitch again, and comes around the plate. Very sharp break, equally effective against right-handed hitters or left.
Now here is Russell, the shortstop, with 2 out and 2 on. Throw him a fastball low and away. This is the time of night that it should be awfully tough to see here. They have all the lights on. Right up his low, ball 2, and the A's have some action out in the bullpen. John Blue Moon Odom. Holtzman behind the batter. Fouled off out of play. The Dodger runners at second base, Garvey as he goes back in, and at first base, Ferguson. There are 2 down. The A's have a force at any base. Could be important if he hits one in the hole somewhere. Ball got away from Fosse, but not very far. Runners holding. It's 3-1. Holtzman could really be working his way into a jam here. Yeager's up next, and he's been carrying a hot bat.
Monty, we've talked about scouting reports a lot the first few ball games of this World Series, and I think that's where scouting reports go wrong. They'll say a pitcher is a fastball pitcher or a breaking ball pitcher, but the good pitchers, the consistent winners, change.
There's a drive to right center. Jackson going deep. He can't get it. It goes between them. The Dodgers are going to get 2. Jackson bobbling the ball. Russell's on his way to third. North finally gets it back in, and the Dodgers lead 2-1.
Billy North from our center field camera. Reggie Jackson seemed to circle the ball. There you can see the loop. He did not go in a direct line toward the ball. Russell going the opposite field all the way. Now the relay into Dick Green. And no chance for anybody at home plate.
Russell really had a good inside-out swing on that ball. The A's were playing him very shallow, and that really hurt him right there. Now, Yeager is the batter with the pitcher due up next, and 2 bases open ahead of him.
Monty, do outfielders lose the ball in the lights in this ballpark? Jackson looked like he made that funny loop as though he lost the ball. He didn't go right after it.
It could be. I don't know, Tony. There's no sun out right now, but it is a twilight time of night. That's for sure. It's tough. Holtzman's going right at Yeager with a curve, and he fouls it off. Yeager had a double and a solid one off the top of the left center field wall in the 3rd inning. The A's are still pitching to him here with Messersmith coming up. Curveball, he popped it up. Ray Fosse's trying to find it. He puts it away, and the Dodgers score 2 here in the 4th on 2 hits. The score, the Dodgers 2, the A's 1. And we just got a look at one of the basic differences in the Dodger lineup and the A's lineup. The Dodgers, from first spot of the batting order right through the 8th, have RBI men. And Russell just got a couple of big ones. Here's Sal Bando taking inside. As a matter of fact, with Messersmith batting, he's hitting .240 for the season. And he is the lowest batting average man in the Dodger lineup. And the Oakland A's as a team only hit .247 this year. Bando takes outside a ball. It's 2-0.
I don't want the Reds or the Mets to get mad at me now. I'm quoting the A's. They say the Dodgers are the best offensive team they played against.
The lowest batting average man in the Dodger lineup, and the Oakland A's as a team only hit .247 this year. Bando takes outside a ball. It's 2-0.
I don't want the Reds or the Mets to get mad at me now. I'm quoting the A's. They say the Dodgers are the best offensive team they played against in the World Series.
Pitches up high, 3-0. It is certainly a couple of teams who have a lot of respect for each other in this World Series. I think the Dodgers sort of look down on the A's a little bit more than you might think that they would in their spot. 3-0 to Bando, and it's ball 4. That's the first Messersmith walk of the game. And he now will pitch to Reggie Jackson, who hit a low sinking liner to center field that was caught on a fine play by Wynn. The 2nd inning. Jackson's home run statistics this year. He had only 14 in this park and 15 on the road. Foul off, strike 1. Russell for the year drove in 65 runs for the Dodgers, batting that low in the order, number 7. Yeager drove in 41. They're playing behind Bando at first base with Jackson up. Bando's no threat to run.
Tony, Andy hasn't used his change too much tonight. It's a very effective pitch for him.
He's changed quite a bit from the times we've seen him prior to this ball game.
Hard stuff again. You know, with the success that Mike Marshall had on Jackson last night, he came in and struck him out with 3 fastballs in a row. That might have made him want to throw some fast ones. From right down the right field line, you're looking at this game now. It's as if you had a seat right behind the foul pole. There was a big cut. But Messersmith blew it by him. It's 1-2.
We talked about scouting reports and how they stereotype pitchers, say he goes one way. Well, the consistent winner will change from game to game. The same with a hitter like Jackson. If they keep pitching him high, he's going to adjust. He might pop one.
Slash foul down the left field line. Jackson has a lot of room over in left and left center with only Bill Buckner out there. The distance between Buckner and Wynn. Messersmith's ahead of Jackson at 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fouled it off, and it was down into the dirt. Yeager didn't have a chance.
Monty, has Jackson, through the last couple of years, been a pretty good off-speed hitter?
Only if they get it up.
Likes that fastball, huh?
Right. A lot of pitchers in the American League try to throw the fastball by him high and inside. The Dodgers haven't done that much in this series. They haven't gone after him that way. They've looked as if they've tried to basically keep it away from him or down. Reggie considers himself a low ball hitter. There's Joe Rudy toweling off. It is that hot here in Oakland today. This usually is the best time of year for weather. There's the let-up pitch, and he got him. Andy Messersmith with probably the best changeup I've ever seen.
I was waiting for that one. Sometimes he'll throw 2 in a row to a hitter.
Well, he had Jackson set up. He had been throwing him all hard stuff. So there's one away, and here is Joe Rudy.
If you ask him what he's changed about his pitching since he's come over to the National League, he said he's perfected that changeup. Much better than he had when he was pitching with the Angels.
You see, the Dodgers have really changed their defense on Rudy since game number 1 down in Los Angeles. They had Wynn playing Rudy in left center field, and they're playing Rudy now more over in right center. It's almost straightaway center, but shaded to right. And Rudy hits a lot into right and right center. There's a liner to the second baseman. Bando's got to hurry to get back. He didn't get back. Bando is doubled off first base a la Jimmy Wynn last night, and 4 innings have gone by the Coliseum. It's 2-1 Dodgers. Andy Messersmith, top half of the 5th inning against Kent Holtzman. The Dodgers 2 runs on 4 hits. The A's 1 run. They really got it on only 1 hit, but they have had 2. Messersmith has won 20 games in both the American and the National Leagues. Called strike. He was a product of the University of California right here just up the road a little ways from the Coliseum in Oakland. Fine college pitcher. Holtzman curved him and got him looking. Holtzman with his 5th strikeout of the game.
And Holtzman went to the University of Illinois.
So there's 1 out. And Davey Lopes of the Dodgers will lead off. This is going to be the richest player pool in World Series history. We were watching them tabulate it this afternoon down in the offices here. Last year, the A's, as a winning team, got $24,617 apiece. This year, it should be more. Lopes fouls the first pitch off, strike 1.
Ronnie, 2 years ago, didn't they award the 27 shares and 20 cash grants out of the World Series? The most complicated distribution of World Series money a squad's ever done, I think.
Curve to Lopes, dives down through that strike zone. It's strike 2. Well, Tony's been in those meetings before. I never have, of course, but the players tell me that it's the closest thing to warfare you come to. Curve fouled off.
It wasn't when you were with the Yankee ball clubs because you expected to win, and they gave shares to almost everyone, it seemed like. Full shares to groundskeepers of the grounds crew, 2 clubhouse men. So ours was never warfare.
Well, that's the way life is with the Swingin' A's.
Now, you're a very generous man, Tony.
From the right field bleacher section here at the Oakland Coliseum, you're watching this pitch to Davey Lopes, and Holtzman missed with a fastball.
One thing we have here tonight, one of the most beautiful skies I've ever seen. Pink clouds overhead.
Right under the Golden Gate Bridge, those clouds came. Curve in the dirt. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. I tell you, those men who are carrying those cameras on their backs put in a few miles during the course of a ball game, and this is a big park, and they've provided us shots from all over the stadium, high and low. Bouncing ball hit over the mound. Campy's going to have to hurry. Got him. He's got a strong arm. The ball bounces that high. Lopes gets away from the plate, but he didn't get away all that fast because it was a let-up pitch, and he had to wait on it some and got off balance. 2 out in the 5th inning, and here's Bill Buckner, who's doubled and bounced out to the mound. Well, you know what it's like to be with a team that gets in 3 World Series in a row. The Baltimore Orioles were in 1969, 70, and 71. And it meant a total of $47,000 bonuses to those players for 3 years. Pitch is fouled away.
I think a great friend of Tony's, man that he played under, a coach, Frank Rossetti, who is from San Francisco, received more World Series checks than anyone in the history of the major leagues.
As a player and a coach, I don't know what a number is, something in the 20s, 27, something like that.
Buckner pops up to Dick Green, right behind first base. Holtzman sails through the 5th inning to score at the Oakland Coliseum. The Los Angeles Dodgers 2, the Oakland A's 1.
Well, we're going now to the last of the 5th inning. Another one-run ball game. First 3 games decided by 1 run. Right now, the Dodgers leading 2-1. Great job, Monty, in the first 4.5 innings.
Thank you very much, Kurt. And it comes time to go now down to the announcer's bullpen and bring up the guy whose voice is synonymous with all the big sporting events in the country. And Kurt and Tony, it's a great... Oh, I was going to give you a chance there, Tony. It's a great thrill every year to work with the whole NBC crew. And here we go for the last half of the game. Kurt got it.
All right. And in the last of the 5th inning, Waddell Washington, Ray Fosse, Dick Green. Washington had an infield hit his first time up. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 2 hits for the A's. Messersmith has struck out 3. He's walked 1, he's hit a batter. 0-1 to Washington. He works in a hurry. There's a drive in the left center by the youngster. That's his 3rd hit in the World Series. He's 3 out of 3.
Kurt, he's an amazing kid. You know, one of the first games he ever played in the big leagues was against Gaylord Perry, and he just went up there fearlessly and hit a triple off the right center field wall, got the winning base hit in the 12th, 13th inning, something like that. He just knows no fear and can really swing the bat.
As Billy Norris said, he has cool. He acts like he's playing in his 10th World Series instead of his first. Ray Fosse struck out his first time. He's failed to hit in the series. He's 0 for 10. That's a ball nearly hit him. And the A's are getting hurt down at the bottom of the order except for the pitcher. Fosse and Green have yet to have a hit in this series. The Dodgers, down through the order, have had better hitting. The 1-0 delivery. There's a drive in the left center for a base hit. Washington rounding second. Stopping. Jim Wynn came up with the ball. I thought Tony Washington might go on with Wynn's elbow problem.
He had that in mind, but when he hit second base and started toward third, he saw that Wynn got over very quickly. And they do remember the throw he made last night to home. It did have something on it. It was fairly accurate. Here it is again. Watch the jump by Claudel Washington. Moving towards second. He wants to go all the way, but Jimmy Wynn makes a good play to hold him right at second base.
Now Walter Alston wants to go to the mound and talk to his pitcher.
Kurt, you know, they say in watching Claudel Washington, he's one of the most natural, good base runners they've ever had in the organization. And that little trip he made around second base right then, not even looking at the bag, hitting it perfectly in stride and ready to go if they needed him, was something. Now, Winkle will go over and talk with him. Tony, the Dodgers, do they run any kind of a trick play on the bunt situation here?
They're really not a tricky ball club on defense or offense. They play the game like their manager out in the mound, very solidly.
When you've got a speedy base runner down on second base, takes a lot of the trick plays away, like that shortstop breaking over toward third base for fear that you might get beaten there. But they have tried things. They have plays like the A's did under Dick Williams, which I think they've thrown a lot out of the window.
We're getting some action now. Jim Brewer.
Jeff Son.
And
He's
Jeff
going
Son.
to your right.
Walter Alston going back. Here he is, 21st year as manager of the Dodgers. He's led the Dodgers to 4 World Series victories. Only Joe McCarthy with 7, Casey Stengel with 7, and Connie Mack with 5. And won more World Championships than Walter Alston. Right now, his club is being threatened in the last of the 5th inning. Dick Green, the batter, grounded out his first time. The A's have runners on first and second, nobody out. The Dodgers shortened up at first and third. Green squares away, pushes the bunt. It's a foul ball as Garvey lets it roll.
And right there, they were playing the throwing arm of Steve Garvey. The report says he does not throw well. And, of course, when you've got a good-feeling pitcher like Messersmith who can get over to third base, he's breaking that direction, so you fool him and go the opposite way.
The reason they converted Garvey from a third baseman to the first base, a shoulder separation. That's why he has trouble throwing.
Well, in this situation, Kurt, it's the easiest pickoff play that a catcher has, and that young fella down at second base, if Green squares around to bunt and misses it, he's going to have to hurry to get back the way Yeager throws, because the shortstop's going to be right on top of the bag.
Washington to second, Fosse to first, nobody out. 1 strike to Dick Green. Dodgers ahead, 2-1. He squares away. This time makes Garvey handle the ball. Garvey throws to Lope, covering at first base. A sacrifice for Dick Green. And he gets a hand from the hometown A's fan. So he did his job. Now let's see what Kenny Holtzman does. All Holtzman did was hit a home run his first time home.
Those are the little things where scouting reports do mean something. Again, playing off the arm of Steve Garvey. As far as a hitter changing or a pitcher changing, they're not going to do it if the scouting reports tells them so.
All right, the Dodgers bring the infield in. Ken Holtzman's had 4 World Series lifetime hits, all for extra bases, 3 doubles and a home run. Pitch of the strike to Ken Holtzman. Washington, a fast man at third. Fosse, not too fast at second. The outfield fairly deep with the pitcher up and around toward left. Now they back the infield up at short and second. They were in tight. They leave them in on the corners. Outside a ball, 1-1.
I guess that's a tribute to the bat of Kenny Holtzman, but you've got to have a little confidence in your pitcher, Andy Messerschmidt, that he can get a ground ball for you.
Holtzman looking down to his third base coach, Bobby Winkle.
How good a bunter is Holtzman?
I don't remember. He hasn't been up this year, Tony.
Who knows? That's the foul ball. The A's pulled a suicide squeeze in Los Angeles. Campaneris laying one down, bringing a runner in. Now the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes to Holtzman. The tying run at third for the A's, the lead run at second.
Here's the time if he can just choke up on the bat and just hit a ground ball to the right side of the infield, he's got the man home.
And those 2 left-handers, Zahn and Brewer, are throwing hard in the Dodger bullpen. Messerschmidt pitching 1 and 2. He just missed. He thought he had it.
Good slider.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Bert Campaneris is on deck. High. Fastball over but high. It was close. 3-2 to Ken Holtzman. Now let's see what he gives him. Runners on second and third, 1 out. That's Fosse, number 10, with his back to you at second. Waddell Washington's at third. 3-2 delivery. Struck him out. And a high fastball. So a big strikeout for Messerschmidt. Ron Say turns his back, signals 2 outs to the outfield. Bert Campaneris is up. But Ron Say stays in tight at third because of Campaneris' bunting ability. Garvey plays it halfway at first.
Messerschmidt will probably, well, let's see, continue to pitch from the stretch. Hold Washington close.
He'll wind up.
Campaneris has been hit by a pitch ball and popped to the pitcher trying to bunt. 1-0 to him. He's had 4 hits in this series.
Kurt, he will go to right field in this situation. One of the few times he'll ever try it.
A 1-0 delivery. High, ball 2. 2-0. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 4 hits for the A's. Last of the 5th inning. On deck, switch hitting Bill North. Now this is a 2-0 pitch. 2-1. Mr. Smith has a great assortment. He throws a fastball with real velocity. Alvin Dark knows it. With a slider. Outstanding changeup. That's a bounding ball foul. Bobby Winkle's playing it. Third base coaching box. He's had Rick Mundy, Sal Bando, Reggie Jackson, Joe Keogh, players that played under him at Arizona State. Rod Dadu, the USC coach, is here at the World Series. He has many ex-collegians under him that are now in the big leagues. Arizona State and USC, two of the best baseball colleges in the country. Bluffed the bunt down the first baseline. It's 3-2.
And
Alston looking up at the count.
And Kurt, if it'd been over there, it's no bluff because he's done that a lot, too. He'll bunt the ball to the right side of the infield on 2 strikes.
The outfield way around toward left for Campaneris. Here's the 3-2 pitch to him. And he hits a high fly ball out in the left center. Backing up is Bill Buckner and takes it one-handed. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left at the end of 5. 2-1 Dodgers. Into the 6th inning we go now. Jim Wynn, Steve Garvey, Joe Ferguson facing Ken Holtzman. When he pitched in the National League, Holtzman had a lifetime record against the Dodgers, 14 wins and 5 losses in his 6 years with the Cubs. His first pitch of the ball to Wynn, who has struck out and grounded out. However, most of these Dodgers that are with the present club weren't around then. Wynn lines it into left center. North coming over, and the ball's picked up by Washington. Wynn's into second base and has a double. North tried to make a diving catch. Couldn't come up with it. Waddell Washington had to back him up.
Watch Billy North again on this sinking line drive to right center field. He's made some good catches in postseason play, but this one he could not make the shoestringer on. Can't find it. Wynn with his speed right into second base. Washington has shown a good arm.
That's the 5th hit for Los Angeles. Now Steve Garvey. He struck out. He singled. He has the most hits of any player in the series, 6. Fouls it away at home plate. 0-1 to Garvey. 5 hits for the Dodgers. 4 have been extra base hits. Double by Buckner. Double by Yeager. A double by Russell. That was the big hit. Brought in 2 runs and a double by Wynn.
Garvey, the man you went up in this situation. He goes to right well. Holtzman will probably curve him down and in. It's a tough pitch to go the opposite way.
He hits it to third. Bando looks the runner back. Fires a strike to first to Rudy. There's 1 down. And he pitched him in that exact spot, down and in.
It was a fastball, a sinking fastball, and that is just plain smart pitching.
Joe Ferguson has grounded out and walked. Jim Wynn at second, 1 down. Another 1-run ball game, 2-1 Los Angeles, 6th inning. We have action again in the Oakland bullpen. That's not a cable car. John Odom warming up again.
Not a train off the track either.
Somebody pulling for a dinger for the Dodgers here in Oakland, Monty?
1 ball, no strikes to Joe Ferguson. A curve by Holtzman. Being careful with Ferguson not to give him a fat fastball. Blue Moon Odom. 2nd time he's been up in the bullpen. The next scheduled batter for the Dodgers is Ron Cey. 2 balls and a strike. In the first 5 1/3 innings, Ron Cey waiting for his shot. Holtzman has walked just 1 and struck out 5. During the regular season, he was not a strikeout pitcher, averaging 4 strikeouts every 9 innings. The 2-1 pitch. Big bounding ball to Bando. Again, he looks Wynn back. Fires across against the slow runner. Has him there, 2 down. Ron Cey has lined the center and struck out. He's 0 for 2. So far, they stopped him fairly effectively. He's had only one hit in 12 times. Every man in this Dodger lineup has had at least one hit in the World Series. Wynn led off with a double. He's still at second after Garvey and Ferguson have bounced to third. I think it was 45 or 47 men played third base for the Dodgers over a stretch of the last 10 years. Ball gets away. There goes Wynn to third. Fosse does not throw. He didn't think he could get him and held onto the ball. It'll be scored a wild pitch.
Let's watch it again. He got that glove out off the heel of it. Many catching coaches recommend getting down and not reaching out with the glove. Just because of that reason, you hit the ball away from you. He decided not to throw it away, and there are a lot of ways he can score, of course. Wild pitch, infield hit, infield error, pass ball, wild pitch when he's at third.
1-0. He rams it to Bando and a skidding hop. Bando makes the play. It was a difficult play for him. No run for the Dodgers. One hit, they left one. 5.5 gone. 2-1 Los Angeles. Bill North has grounded out to second base twice. Better hitter right-handed than left-handed, isn't he, Monty?
Well, he started off that way, Kurt. He had to learn to hit left-handed, but he ended the season about 260 each way.
He's 1 out of 12 in the series, and Messersmith's in with a strike to him.
We had a hard time getting started this year, Kurt. He hit 280 last year in his first season with the A's, but as late as after the All-Star break, he was hitting only 220. Ended up the season at 260-something.
1-1. Messersmith has walked one. He's hit a batter. He struck out 4. Allowed 4 hits. And he's trying to hold on to a 1-run lead. Look out. 2 balls and a strike.
Billy looked like the first couple of pitches he was going to left field, trying to play off Ron Say, hit a ground ball by him as he's playing up shallow, and he came inside.
Took his head off that ball. He's been in a miserable slump. He's had only 5 hits in his last 60 times up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. North leading off in this inning. Another foul. We pause briefly for identification. This is the NBC television network. Kurt Gowdy, Tony Kubek, and Monty Morgan from the Oakland Coliseum. And a packed and jammed sellout crowd on a very warm, pleasant evening. What weather we've had for this year's series. Temperature in the 80s in Los Angeles, here in San Francisco. The 2-2 delivery. Inside, 3-2. What happened to these chilly nights we all heard about out here?
Well, Kurt, this time of year, you don't get that fog that we have so much during the July and August and June season. This is the best time of year always. We forget that one night it rained here last year.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Bill North is on. Bad man to walk. He led the American League in stolen bases with 54.
Now, Sal Bando steps in. Let's go back to the 6th inning when he made a play. You see the quick reflexes a third baseman has to have on that shot off the bat of Ron Say with Jimmy Wynn on third base. Yes, you do have it, Sal. He's got one of the most accurate arms in baseball along with it.
Bando cuts away at the first pitch. Look at Yeager hopping around behind the plate. 0-1 to Bando. The A's are not exactly running rampant on Dodger catchers, especially against Yeager, who's been wearing a cannon on his right side. North trying to jockey for a lead with Garvey holding. Campaneris was thrown out in the first inning trying to steal by a big margin, and Bando is in a hole now, 2 strikes. They're just jamming him with fastballs.
Looks as if he's getting some fastballs here because North is on. Messersmith's fastball tonight has been, looked to me like it's been his best pitch.
Sal hasn't had a hit in his last 15 up in the playoffs in the series. North back.
With 2 strikes, Bando, as you mentioned earlier, does go to right field, and there is a big hole as Lopes is playing well towards second base. Garvey holding the runner.
2-strike delivery. A high foul into the seats down the left field line. Dodgers are leading 2-1. The A's scored in the third. Kenny Holtzman hit a home run into left field. And the Dodgers went ahead in the fourth. With 2 down, 2 men on, Bill Russell doubled to right center to drive him in. And that's been the scoring. Low throw, Garvey scooping.
Loeb cheats about as much towards second base as any second baseman I've seen recently in a double play situation, leaving a big hole to his left.
Big lead that time by North. He had to really dive back.
Kurt, he runs a lot on no balls, 2 strikes, and I'm sure the Dodger scouting reports have indicated that.
Messersmith with that quick move to first, been holding these runners.
On some of these Dodger pitchers, they have been taught in recent years a little bit of a bulk move. They'll cock that left knee almost imperceptible unless you're watching it closely. And they'll decoy the base runner, deceive him into thinking they're going home.
It's still 2 strikes to Sal Bando. And now it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Again, Messersmith throws the fastball tight to him, trying to crowd Bando. For him to handle that kind of stuff to right field would be most difficult. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's the ball getting away. And North goes to second. Well, that's what a great base runner by North will do. Some way, somehow, continuous pressure can force you into that mistake.
Here's North again coming back. He tried to dig it out of the dirt. Didn't. Look at North. Take a look over his shoulder like good base runners will. They don't rely on coaches unless they absolutely have to. Here it is again. It was not a bad throw. The ball did not hit the dirt. It hit off the thumb of the first baseman's glove of Garvey.
Well, they scored an error. It's probably going to be on a pitcher, but we'll check for the official score. Now, North's at second, nobody out. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count to Bando, and Bando fouls it away.
Kurt, they got a break there. The Dodger did that ball hit Billy North on the leg because this foul line area here, which we talked about the first night, with Jackson on deck waiting, is the biggest in baseball, at least in the American League. He could have gone to third.
1-2 pitch coming up to Sal Bando. It's a high foul fly headed toward the seats. Bill Russell racing for it, and it is out of play. Russell lost his cap on the way over. Bill Buckner was breaking in from left field. Buckner challenges the walls, the foul poles. He's made some sensational grabs all year.
Yeager just yelling down to Steve Garvey. Yeager went over to cover third base that time in case North was tagging up, and he pointed to the plate to tell Garvey to be sure and cover there if I go to third now.
Bill North, the tying run at second. Nobody out for Oakland in the last of the 6th inning. Bando's been the spoiler. He's fouled off 4 or 5 in a row now. There's the 1-2 pitch to him. He drills it into right field. It may drop. It's in. Here's North scoring. And the A's have tied it 2-up.
Here's a good team man, even with 2 strikes. He was shooting the opposite way, and Messersmith made what looked like a perfect pitch. Up and in, almost a ball. But Bando, the team captain, did his job and got a base set aside from him.
Bando is a tough RBI man. He hasn't been hitting lately, but he comes up with a big hit that time. Well, a walk, an error on Andy Messersmith. That's the official scorer's decision now. And a little Texas leaguer in the right field, and the A's have tied it. Reggie Jackson is lined to center and struck out. Each team has 2 runs. Each club has 5 hits. Ball outside to Jackson.
Kurt, that's the frustrating part about this game of baseball. When you make a perfect pitch, or you think you do, as Messersmith did, high and tight, and a base hit.
Pitching him outside again, 2-0. At first, nobody out. 3 balls, no strikes. No action right now in the Dodger bullpen. There may be in another pitch or two. Well, will they give Jackson the green light?
My guess is yes.
Red Adams and Walter Alston. Adams, the pitching coach. 3 balls, no strikes to Jackson. He's on. That's the second walk this inning by Andy Messersmith. And now the Dodger bullpen springs into action. Those 2 left-handers again. Jim Brewer and Jeff Zahn. They were warming up earlier. And Walter Alston comes out once more. Joe Rudy, a right-hander, is the next batter.
Kurt, they've got Yeager going out talking to Garvey now. Rudy's a real good bunter, and the A's have shown their ideas here in the series that they want to bunt to first base, as you and Tony have talked about the whole series. And I would imagine that Yeager must be telling Garvey, now look, come in there a little harder. We've got to have a play at third base this time. With Bando running, he's not all that fast. He's not a slow runner by any means. But if this ball is bunted hard to first base this time, it wouldn't surprise me to see Garvey really charging.
We didn't have enough cameras right then to cover all the conferences going on. Winkles with Bando, the one on the mound. Hitter Washington was called back by Dark. Jackson is congratulating Garvey. Something going on in the bullpen.
And if you joined us late and you wondered why would Reggie Jackson congratulate Garvey, his wife gave birth to a baby girl about 3:30 this afternoon. All right, we're all set as the skipper of the Dodgers is back in the dugout. Joe Rudy, who does every phase of baseball with excellence, is up now. He is grounded out and lined into a double play. Squares away and tries to bunt down the third baseline. Rudy is the leading RBI man in the series with 3.
I don't know if I'd have this man bunting. He is a very reliable hitter. He can go the opposite way. The Dodgers are playing it like a bunt. He may switch right now.
Bando's at second. Jackson's at first. No outs. 1 run in. The A's have tied it at 2-all in the 6th inning. And he's bunting to Garvey. Garvey has to make the play to Lopes. He looked to third and then decided he might have a gamble there. Joe Rudy with a beautifully executed sacrifice. The A's have showed us some very efficient bunting in this series.
And they're taking advantage the second time in this ball game on Steve Garvey's throwing arm. He took a look. No chance for the play. Bando got a good jump off second base. Are they going to walk him, the left-handed hitter?
Well, let's see what they do. He's had 2 for 2, an infield hit and a line single to left center. They're looking into the Dodger dugout. The Dodgers bring the infield in. Runners on second and third. Now they're going to put him on. 20-year-old Claudell Washington gets an intentional walk, which will load the bases.
He's earned some respect in a short time in the big leagues, Kurt. Talking about the A's bunting as well as they have, you know, they've had 3 sacrifice bunts in game number 1. And this is really a change in character for the A's. The last month of the season, they had 4 sacrifices in the first game. Change of strategy. The A's just didn't bunt that much, and very rarely during the year would they have had a Joe Rudy bunting.
Well, I think in this series run coming hard to get that they have been laying the ball down. They were 1 short of a World Series record in the opening game. Ray Fosse is being called back, and Jim Holt is coming out, a left-handed batter. The Dodgers have 2 left-handers in the bullpen, Zahn and Brewer. Jim Holt will bat for Ray Fosse. And that means that Gene Tennis
or Larry Haney could come into the ball game, Kurt. If the A's take the lead here, they might put Haney in behind the plate. I don't know. Tennis has been really as good a catcher as the A's have had this year. Even though Gino indicated he didn't want to play there, he's played there and played very well.
I think they might want to save the tennis bat for later in the ball game, though, as you can give him a long ball.
Jim Holt is 1 out of 2 in this series. He came up as a pinch hitter and got a hit. He came over to the A's from the Minnesota Twins. he's in with a bases loaded. 1 out. The game tied 2-2 in the last of the 6th inning. Vandal's at third. Jackson's at second. Claudell Washington's at first, and his ball 1 to Jim Holt. There's the lead runner, Vandal. That's Jackson at second. And there's young Claudell Washington. Off the end of the bat, squibbed to the A's dugout. 1-1.
Holt does not have good speed, and Claudell Washington should get a good shot at that double play attempt at second base. He could get a good lead here, not being held on.
Russell and Lopes are laying back, hoping for the double play ball at short and second. And that one's hit off the end of the bat again, off his timing. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Kurt, some more action out of the Oakland bullpen, indicating another pinch hitter coming up. That's Dow Maxfield, who will go in and play second base if they pinch hit for Dick Green.
1 ball, 2 strikes to pinch hitter Jim Holt. 2-2. The A's left 2 in scoring position in the 5th. 3 runners lead away. The 2-2 delivery. And it's a little nibbler. It's going to be a foul ball. Yeager pouncing on it. Yeager and Vandal.
Yeager's laughing.
They met before one other ball game, right at home plate. Here it is again. Yeager saying, "I'm going to stop, will you?"
Now listen, babe, you got me down there in L.A.
Great shot right there.
That really is.
You can still laugh when the tension's the highest.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeager blocked the plate and hurt his knees. The 2-2 delivery. There's a base hit into right field. Vandal is scoring. Here comes Jackson. The throw. It is. He's safe. Yeager charges the home plate umpire, Denkinger. Walter Alston coming out to argue. A strong throw by Joe Ferguson again. Jackson hits the dirt and evidently eluded the tag. Yeager is steaming.
We've seen Ferguson make a great throw before in this World Series. He just made another one. Yeager tried to block the plate. He planted that foot down the third base line. Here's Ferguson. Look at the speed on that throw. Here comes Reggie Jackson. He had to reach a little bit toward the first base side, but now Reggie just knocks that foot up with a hard slide. Everybody calling it Bando Green. Here it is again. He was holding him out, pitching from the stretch, which did not allow Reggie to get that kind of jump off second base. Watch this slide. There is the left foot, knocking off Yeager's foot from home plate, and he tags him after he hit the plate. Good call by the home plate umpire, Don Denkinger.
That left foot in on the plate. Alvin Dark, the manager, now talking with Dick Green, who's due up next, and Bobby Winkles. A 4-2 lead for Oakland. They're going to let Green bat now.
Well, we see Herbie Washington, and, you know, in the excitement of that play and the throw and the 2 runs, you forget the big hit that Jimmy Holt just got.
That's his second pinch hit in this series.
He was picked up from Minnesota in a trade for Pat Burt. The A's were trying to get a man who didn't go for power so much, but he didn't strike out. And Jimmy Holt was something like coming into this World Series 0 for 26 as a pinch hitter, and he's at 2 in the series.
The 3 runs by the A's. Holt's getting an ovation, and they start waving those Oakland banners in back of the dugout. He delivered a big pinch hit. He got behind in the count and came through. 3 runs in an inning has been the biggest inning of this World Series. And here goes Herbie Washington out. Hurricane Herb, who has been picked off first base in L.A. Last night they hit a high fly to left. He forgot the number of outs, and he stopped at second base. His reasoning was, even if the ball was dropped or misjudged, He's so fast he could have scored anyway.
Did he say that?
He's supposed to have said that. Well, there's still only one out. Waddell Washington's at third. Herb Washington at first. A world-class sprinter who holds the world indoor 1,500-yard dash record and runs 100 outdoors in 9.2.
Excellent speed on both bases, and Yeager's going to have to make a decision. Will he throw through to get Washington and take a chance that the other Washington, Claudel, will score from third?
Dick Green is grounded to short and sacrificed. Washington's not wandering far off that bag since Marshall picked him off.
He's not diving back like Maury Wills told him to.
That's his problem. He's had to learn how to get a lead, how to slide. He can run, but there's more to it than that. Ground ball is sent to the shortstop. They go to second for one. The throw to first. They're late, and the run scores. Dick Green hustled down the line and beat the throw from Lopes to first base. Washington scores, and the A's had 4 runs in the 6th inning. And now have a 5-2 lead. An RBI for Dick Green. Ken Holtzman has hit a home run and struck out.
The Dodgers electing to play their infield back in that last one with Herbie Washington's speed at first base.
Holtzman's the 8th batter up this inning. Ball to him. It all started with a walk to Bill North. They've had only 2 hits and scored 4 runs. That's the way the A's have been operating, taking advantage of everything. Ball 2 to Ken Holtzman. Three walks this inning by Messersmith, 1 intentional. And there's a ground ball. Russell backhanding. Great play to Lope. Fantastic play by Bill Russell in the hole. Here it is again.
Here's Russell going far to his right. He was playing up the middle for Kenny Holtzman. A real acrobat.
4 runs, 2 hits, 1 error at the end of 6. 5-2 Oakland.
There's a new catcher for the Oakland A's. He's Larry Haney. And Larry's been a very fine addition to the A's ball club this year. They only carried 2 catchers all last year, but from the start, they've carried 3 this year, and he's been a valuable man.
Bill Russell leading off. He hits the first pitch up in the air to left center. Back goes North. Has the beat on it and takes it. 1 down. Russell had grounded out and doubled. Steve Yeager coming up next is doubled and fouled out.
Lindblad, the left-hander, Fingers, the right-hander for the A's.
Joe DiMaggio and Bobby Brown, former teammates. Dr. Bobby Brown, one of the leading cardiologists in America from Fort Worth, Texas, now the president of the Texas Rangers. Joe growing handsomer by the year.
We found him for Mrs. Robinson.
A lot of people
Joe
forget.
DiMaggio.
He coached the A's for 2 years here. A lot of people might forget that.
Mike Marshall heating up in the bullpen for the Dodgers. Yeager for the count of 1-1. The A's ahead 5-2 in the 7th. Tom Pachorik has come out on deck for Los Angeles. The bat for Messersmith. Tom Pachorik. Grounded foul. The Texas Rangers were quite a story this year. They gave your club a battle right down to the last week, Monty.
They were a very fine club, and they were well managed by Billy Martin, and the fans of Texas had a lot to be proud of.
Haney couldn't hold on to that pitch.
And I think they probably have one of the coming superstars of baseball in an outfielder by the name of Jeff Burroughs.
Well, he led the American League in RBIs. They finished just 5 games in the back of Oakland. A lot of promising young players. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Went for a bad pitch, high and away. 2 down. Ken Holtzman. Down all the way. Allowed 5 hits. That was strikeout number 6 for him, which is better than his seasonal average of 4 strikeouts a game.
Kurt, I think the Texas Rangers have one of the catchers coming to stardom in the American League also, and probably is the closest in the American League to Yeager here, and that's young Jim Sundberg.
Tom Paciorek batting. His first series at bat. Play him straight away. Sends a ground ball to Campaneris. Up the throw, right there. Easy 1-2-3 inning for Holtzman. The 7th inning stretch in Oakland with a score. Oakland 5, Los Angeles 2.
Mike Marshall, he was seen often during the season. He's been seen often during this World Series. And there was talk that if the Dodgers would lose today and come back with something to win the game, he might be a starter in Game 6. He has not done so far this year.
Marshall, his 4th game of the series, his 5th consecutive game. He was in the final game of the playoffs when they brought him in and gave Don Sutton an inning off with a big lead. Don Sutton will pitch for the Dodgers tomorrow night against Vida Blue. If the series goes on and we go into the 6th game, Friday will be a traveling day, and Game 6 Saturday in Los Angeles.
You might have seen Marshall gesturing with his gloved hand to Lopes to move over in his right fielder. His players get mad at him at times for doing that.
Campaneris is put down. The A's had 8 men up in the 6th inning, scored 4 runs. Biggest inning of this series. Marshall's behind him 2-0.
Kurt, if Marshall ended up starting a World Series game, it certainly wouldn't be the first time a reliever of the Dodgers has started and won a World Series, maybe even.
Foul back, as I recall, Clem Levine.
Joe Black one year, started the first game.
Walter Alston, I believe, did it with both those men. Isn't he the man who started them?
2-1 to Campaneris. He's been hit by a pitch ball, popped up trying to bunt, fly to left. And he hits a high fly out to shallow right, just a little pop-up, actually. Dave Lopes with the grab, 1 away. Ball looked like it was going to carry farther. Bill North. There's the commissioner, the red tie, Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, and Mrs. Kuhn, Mr. and Mrs. George High Pockets Kelly in the box. Carl Linneman Jr., the Vice President of NBC Sports. Lee McPhail, President of the American League. Joe Cronin, retired President of the American League. Large group of celebrities, dignitaries,
There was
and
a
other
fellow
folks.
sitting to the right of the commissioner. His name, I think, is Rick Barry. He was really trying to get on camera.
Yelling foul.
Oh.
Poor call.
1-1 to Bill North. Dodgers had a 2-1 lead when they lost it in the 6th. Right now, the A's have 1 out, nobody on. That's a strike. Doug Rao warming up. He might have been the starting pitcher last night, but he was not impressive his last time out. So that he won 13, but they decided to go with Downing last night. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The intellectual of the Dodgers, Mike Marshall. And he blew that fastball right by him. He's got a good fastball. 2 down. Sal Bando struck out, walked, looped a single to right field in the 6th. His first base hit of the series, knocked in a run. And it kept things going and really set everything up for the big inning by Oakland. There's a strike to him.
Kurt, that's the kind of second half Sal had. It seems as though he'd only get a hit tonight, but it would drive in a run.
Again, the A's utilizing their hits. Bounding ball to Marshall. He'll have to hurry. He has him. 3 up, 3 down for the A's in the 7th. At the end of 7, the score is Oakland 5 and Los Angeles 2. Jimmy Campbell, the general manager of the Tigers, with his manager Ralph Houck and Ralph's wife Betty, the Major, the Iron Major.
Never could stand them.
You don't say that to his face, though.
I wouldn't say it any other place except in jest.
Dave Lopes leads off for the Dodgers in the 8th inning. It's a strike to him, and the A's bullpen is busy. Rollie Fingers, the right-hander. Paul Lindblad, the left-hander, in case Holtzman fallers here in the 8th or 9th inning. Another strike by Holtzman. Holtzman has retired 6 in a row. He's had trouble in 1 inning. That was the 4th when he gave up 2 runs. That's been it for Los Angeles. Took him out in a curveball.
He has changed his pitching pattern from his first start of this World Series an awful lot. He's gone more to the breaking ball, the hard curve. He stayed away with nobody on base, but as soon as the Dodgers got men in scoring position, he pitched the right-handers inside.
He has 7 strikeouts tonight. He's walked only 1. Larry Haney gets somebody's attention. Something thrown on the playing field out in center field.
He's probably still looking for Dick Allen. Chuck Tanner, the manager of the White Sox.
Mr. Positive. Pounding ball to the right side. Dick Green on a shoulder high hop. The flip. 2 down. And Ken Holtzman is really sailing along now. He has retired 4, 8, 11, 12 of the last 13.
Kurt, we've mentioned it in the last few World Series games. There's not been a complete game pitched in the World Series for 17 consecutive ball games. Will Kenny Holtzman do it tonight?
The way he's going right now, he has an excellent chance. Jim Wynn struck out, grounded out, double the left. A ball to him. The high strikeout total of any single game for Holtzman this year has been 8. He has struck out 7 Dodgers in the World Series. A ball. If you were playing center field, Walter Mitty, in the World Series, here's what you'd be seeing from our low center field camera. Al Holtzman's 3-0 to Jim Wynn. Holtzman pitched 9 complete games this year. And he has a strike on Wynn, 3-1. 5-2 Oakland. The 8th inning. The Dodgers have 2 outs, nobody on. Steve Garvey's their next scheduled batter. Back 2, 3-2. Crowd roaring with Holtzman. He walked him. Second walk by Holtzman. Tony Amani doesn't seem to have lost anything off that fastball when he comes in with it. He's throwing as hard now as he did in the early inning.
About the only thing that really ever tires him out is if he gets on the bases and has to run some. He said that hurt him the other day down in Los Angeles. It's been a warm night. He likes warm nights, but he really hasn't made all that many pitches to be that tired. He's walked only a couple of batters, and even though he struck out 7, which ordinarily uses up some pitches, he shouldn't be too tired here.
He's been very consistent since he came to the American League, winning 19, 20, and 19 in the last 3 years. That's a bounding ball in the left field for a base hit by Steve Garvey. And Garvey continues to slash away.
I've got to believe we're going to see Fingers right now as Ferguson represents the tying run at the plate. That's why you don't see many complete ball games anymore. People like Marshall, Fingers, who is on his way in from the pen.
Crowd does not want Dark to take Holtzman out. They're yelling, no, no. It's a quick hook here for him with 2 down in the 8th inning. And so we've gone, the 18th game in a row in the World Series without a complete game. As Rollie Fingers makes his way in, we'll tell you in the 8th inning the score: Oakland 5, Los Angeles 2. Rollie Fingers comes on with 2 down. He'll face Joe Ferguson. Jim Wynn's at second. Steve Garvey at first. Fingers gave up only 5 home runs all year. He's allowed 2 homers in this World Series. And the man at first base, Garvey, now has had 7 hits in this series. The all-time record in the World Series for most base hits, 13, held by Tony Kubek's old roommate, Bobby Richardson, and Lou Brock. There's Fingers' wife on the right, anxiously watching her husband. Jill. Joe Ferguson grounded out twice, a walk. Good fastball hitter, the strike zone. Fingers, his 3rd game in this series. In the last 18 World Series games, he's pitched in 15 of them. He hasn't been exactly overpowering this series. He's pitched 6 innings, given up 6 hits, 2 runs. But he got that opening day win in relief of Holtzman. Now he's trying to save this game for Holtzman. 5-2 Oakland, 8th inning. Ferguson hit the home run in Los Angeles Sunday over the center field wall. Fingers with a sidearm delivery drops behind 2-1. Well, there's tension. She had her fingers crossed. 2 balls and a strike. Foul ball back. 25 G's riding on the pitches now. Might buy a little something for the house for Jill Fingers.
Kurt, they're figuring that well, depending upon how many shares the players vote, that this thing could be something like $28,000 per man for the winners. And that last pitch, Tony and I both reached over and looked and said, "Did you see what I saw in here?" Weststock saw it too. That was right up in the wheelhouse.
It was a little bit of a bad pitch. It could have been 3-0. If he had hit the ball, I would imagine he would have pulled it foul.
Pitching coach Wes Stock back to the A's dugout. 2 down. The Dodgers have runners in first and second. Garvey has a huge lead at first. Rudy playing off the bag. Joe Ferguson, the batter. Dodgers behind 3 runs. Took him out on a high fastball up around the eye. There's Jill Fingers applauding her husband. Way to go. No run. A hit, 2 left. In a 7.5, 5-2 Oakland. The crowd tonight, the same as last night. 49,347 to sell out. Reggie Jackson, Joe Rudy, and Claudell Washington in the last of the 8th inning facing Mike Marshall. Marshall set the A's down in order in the 7th. Messersmith pitched 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, 5 runs. And unless his teammates rally in the 9th to tie or go ahead, he's going to lose his 2nd World Series game of this series. 1-0 to Jackson. Line to center, struck out a walk. He scored a run. Turned the ball over to him. 2 balls and no strikes. On deck, Rudy. And you Dodger fans looking ahead in the 9th inning, the last shot for Los Angeles, Say, Russell, Yeager. He hits it sharply to Russell, handcuffs him. Jackson's on. That ball hit off the end of the bat. He has such power, though, that it was hit sharply instead of a swiveler. Had a crazy spin on it. Base hit.
Looked like he might have jammed him, Kurt. A little bit up on the fist. Russell had a chance for it as Jackson going that direction would not get as good a jump out of the box. We've seen some pretty shaky infield plays so far in this World Series. We've seen some great plays, but also some poor base running, some good throws, and some bad throws. So it's been a very unusual World Series in a lot of respects.
There's Joe Rudy. The note on him of the 39 doubles. He just missed the 100 RBI mark this year, too, with 99. Jackson on first. They have Rudy swinging away. He hits it to Russell. There's 1. Lopes his relay, and they have 2. So quickly, 2 down, nobody on for the A's in the last of the 8th inning. And Claudell Washington coming up. Jackson sliding hard in the 2nd. Claudell Washington's been on every time with 2 hits and a walk. To 2 Oakland, last of the 8th inning. Marshall teases him outside.
That's a good shot if Marshall throws his screwball. That was a fastball. You might get a good look at it as to what it does.
Washington's only hitting 1,000 in this series. 3 for 3. Fouls that one back.
Heard quite a story about him. He never played baseball in high school at all, and he was a high jumper on the track team. He was not a sprinter. He was a high jumper. And I asked him one day why he went out for track instead of baseball, and he said, well, I was having trouble with history, and the track coach happened to be the history teacher, and...
Good thinking. Very bright young man. Fouls it back. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 down, nobody on. Just before the game, it was a surprise change by the A's. They had Gene Tennis in the lineup, playing first base, and Joe Rudy in left. And they made a late change and brought Rudy in the first and put this man in left field and benched Tennis. We may see Tennis in the 9th inning, though. Go to first base defensively. They have action in the Dodger bullpen. Here's the 2-2 delivery. And Washington strikes out. And Marshall has really pitched great relief ball in this series. No runs, a hit, nobody left. We're going to the 9th inning. It's 5-2 Oakland. Joe Rudy now goes back to his old spot in left field. And Gene Tennis comes off the bench to take over first base. Rollie Fingers was on the mound. He came in to relieve Ken Holtzman in the 8th with 2 down, 2 men on, and struck out Joe Ferguson. Ron Say is the first Dodger batter. The pitch is high and inside to him. Say is hitless in 3 times. Bill Russell on deck, 1-1 count. A knuckleballer, Charlie Huff, warming up. Blue Moon Odom, Paul Lindblad in the Oakland bullpen. Flip that one over on him. A ball and 2 strikes to Ron Say.
He is tough on right-handed hitters. He comes from the side at times with that sweeping curveball, changes speeds on it.
2-2 count.
We've talked about the great control these Oakland A's pitchers have. Hunter, Fingers. Here's North from our center field camera. Look at him going off to the left, moving in the direction with that ball in the outside corner of the right-hand hitter.
There's a line shot to center, a base hit by Say to start the 9th. Every 9th inning we've had so far in this series, the club behind has put on a rally, has been caught just short. The 9th innings of the first 3 games were the best innings. Bill Russell has grounded out, doubled to knock in 2 and fly it out. Dando playing tight at third. Fastball strike to Russell. Yeager on deck at Sal. Behind him over his left shoulder we can see Odom and Lindblad. They're all ready in case they're needed. Fouled away, and Fingers moves ahead of him, 2 strikes. Who does his mustache?
He does it himself. You know, on his contract after the 1972 World Series for the 73 season, he got 500 pounds or something from mustache. I don't know.
Foul back. 500 what?
No, Charlie Finley gave him a bunch of cans of mustache wax. So he does his own every day. I don't know.
I believe I'd take the money. Ron Say at first, nobody out in the 9th inning. Dodgers trailing 5-2. Bill Russell has had a hit in his last 7 games in the playoffs and World Series, including tonight's game. In fact, as I added up here, it's 8 in a row tonight, including the National League playoffs and the series. There's Yeager, who won Garagiola's bubble blowing contest. An upset victory. Russell strikes out.
We could see a pinch hitter here for Yeager. Willie Crawford is on the bench, and we thought he might do that when Ferguson was up in the last inning. It looks like Bon Joshua now with a bat. He might save Crawford in the event Joshua gets on, and then he'll have Crawford with the potential tying run at home plate.
Bon Joshua. He drilled a long drive to left field that was caught last night. 0 for 1 last night, 0 for 2 in the series. Walter Alston behind, ahead, you never know by looking at him. So the Dodgers have 2 outs left. They're trailing by 3 with Ron Say at first. Joshua's taking his time getting up there. Maybe a cat and mouse game, making Fingers wait for him. Now he backs out.
Rollie never knows what time it is anyway. He really doesn't care.
There's Willie Crawford by Walter Alston. And Willie's coming out to bat for Mike Marshall. There's a ball ran. Green up. 1, goal. Double play. Sensational double play. A game started by Dick Green. What a way to wind the game up with a flurry as Dick Green. That looked like a sure base hit, Tony.
Never that I can recall that the defensive player got the most valuable player award for World Series. But the last 2 ball games, you got to say Dick Green has had a big part in Oakland A's victories. What a great play. Bon Joshua runs well, and this will give you an example of playing pitchers, not just hitters. With Fingers, ball moving away from the left-handed hitter. He was moving to his right before the ball was hit. And look at the great pivot by Campaneris. They play great fundamental baseball, these Oakland A's.
Well, that's how they now have a 3-game-to-1 lead. We'll be back. Again, the final score. The A's 5 and the Dodgers 2.